We know even the most basic and sociological research makes clear that all of these connections don't necessarily translate into a feeling of being connected, and that often enough these abilities to move quickly with messages or images or what have you, some kind of communication between space with digital technology does not leave us feeling connected. Instead, it can leave us, mysteriously enough, feeling disconnected and lonely. This is a great paradox somehow in this development. So we have this increase of movement in the sky and in our lives with our use of all of these technologies, and yet somewhere there's a kind of static, dead stillness, a kind of void or something, a feeling of loneliness that we are aware of. And indeed, when we compare being in the presence of a machine to being in the presence of another human being, how rich is the difference? And in one way, it's quite intuitive that even with all of the amazing possibilities that have already been opened up through digital technology, that in some regard, this feeling of loneliness in it is an inherent feature of it. Because in the end, digital technology is a kind of automation, a kind of hyper automated system. Now, this picture, if we grasp it together, we can see that there's a great growth of outer movement, and it's accompanied by a kind of tendency towards isolation in one regard. And I know this is a one-sided description or one perspective, and I've chosen it for a reason, so I hope you'll bear with me. There's another development which is intimately connected with the youth section and with the Goetheanum. And it's a kind of mirror image in a way, but qualitatively speaking. Instead of starting with outer movement and ending with a kind of stillness and a vacuum, it has to do with beginning with a kind of stillness that we create through our own will, through engaging with our will and with our heart, our thinking, through meditation, and through active grasping of our thought, which usually is very distracted and going in all directions. And we grasp our thought and we pour our will into it. We bring it to a kind of compact, still meditative awareness. And we can discover an amazing spiritual creative plane of movement. And it is a plane of warmth, of creativity and vitality, and it is not devoid of ethical qualities and moral qualities. And it is somehow connected, we feel, to our heart, as if there's a thinking connected to our hearts, and also to the experience of being human. So, in a way, I feel like I can describe also within the work of the youth section and members all around the world, these two directions are being experienced. One where an outer movement tends towards a kind of stillness and loneliness, and the other one where a kind of stillness and concentration leads into a kind of spiritual movement.
This is Questions of Courage, a podcast from the youth section at the Goetheanum, hosted by Nathaniel Williams.